Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 in Sophomore English. We continue in Unit number 4, our Poetry Unit, and more particularly Poetry Collection number 4, by looking at one more time a couple of Tanka. We're going to look at two, one by Jakuren and another by Komachi. Both of these are Tanka. Let's remind ourselves, I'm on page 688 by the way, that's where we'll be looking at the two that are provided in your hymnal. Before we get there though, jump back to 671 for just a second to be reminded of what Tanka is. Again, a 5-line unrhymed Japanese form, where again the first line and the third lines of Tanka contain 5 syllables, the second, fourth, and fifth lines 7 syllables, and again the exemplar is given for you on 671. Of course, we've already looked at a couple of these earlier together in the Poetry Collection number 3, and now we're going to come to a couple of these. The first of these that we'll look at is by priest Jakuren. Notice your dates on 683, 1139 to 1202. Jakuren was a Buddhist priest whose poems are filled with beautiful yet melancholy imagery. I would write that down. Often his poems have this kind of lugubrious or melancholy or sad imagery. After entering the priesthood at the age of 23, he traveled the Japanese countryside. The other we're going to look at is Ono Komachi, active, kind of roughly common era, 833 to 857. We don't know much more about her than that. A beautiful woman with a strong personality. Komachi was an early Japanese Tanka poet. Her poems are marked by passion and energy. The few details known about her life have inspired many legends as well. And obviously you can do a little bit of research on your own there. Let's look at the first of these two, the priest Jakuren passage. And again, we'll just ask some questions once we're done about what's going on in this poem. Again, it's just a single powerful emotional moment. What is delivered in the words?
Tanka by priest Jakuren, translated by Jeffrey Bonus. One cannot ask loneliness how or where it starts. On the cypress mountain, autumn evening.
All right, let's pause for a moment. At level 1, just jot down the power of these 5 lines to try to capture the single concept of what. What would you say? Write it down. This is a poem about what? Notice the opening line. One, as in anyone, cannot ask loneliness how or where it starts. I've had sophomores that say, this is such a compelling set of lines because it's so true. Right, your friend asks you, how's it going today? You can't really explain why you feel kind of lonely. By the way, a 3B question, is there a difference between being alone and loneliness? I've had students that say, I can be in the middle of a whole bunch of people and be lonely. Or I can be completely by myself, alone, and not lonely. Well then, what is loneliness? That feeling of somehow dislocation, alienation. To ask, where does it start? That's the first 2 lines. And now the last 2 lines, notice maybe a kind of possible answer. On the cypress mountain, cypress trees, cone-bearing evergreen trees born native to North America, Europe, Asia, right? Autumn evening. What's significant? Jot down. What's significant about autumn and loneliness? That moment when Ruthie's tree starts to go into the possibility of looking like it's going to die, losing its leaves and that kind of thing. If you look at the seasons as representing emotions, many students will say summertime is like joy, and fall, autumn can be kind of like sadness, loneliness. Let's jot down at 3A. What is, again, this is poetry to show, not to tell. But if we had to encapsulate a single message or theme here, what would it be for you? Jot it down really quickly. Some students have said the inexplicability, the unexplainableness of loneliness. You can't explain it. You know exactly what it feels like, but it's translinguistic. You can't put it into words linguistic. And to that degree, it's just that feeling of intense sorrow, sadness, that's kind of like what happens when the trees start to lose their leaves in the autumn. Of course, we've already said it to be, this is Tanka, one more attempt to try and capture an emotion. And of course in 3A, what is for you the great text of loneliness, sadness, melancholy? Another word I used it a few seconds ago, lugubriousness. Lugubrious, to be sad, to be mournful. What is that text for you that speaks most powerfully about being alone? And finally at 3B, when was the last time you felt like this? Can you remember it? When was the last time that you felt loneliness? Many sophomores report that the freshman year has some of these moments. When I'm not in middle school anymore, I'm not in 8th grade anymore, I just wish that life was a whole lot more simpler for me. I wish I could go back to that time where the only thing I worried about was, going out to recess and having a simple life. When was it for you, the last time you felt this kind of loneliness? All right, let's look at our next one, the Komachi offering, okay? We'll play the same game again. Powerful stuff, watch this.
Tanka by Ono Komachi, translated by Jeffrey Bonus. Was it that I went to sleep thinking of him, that he came in my dreams? Had I known it a dream, I should not have wakened.
Okay, so this is a wonderful little example of how the rhetorical question can lead to the insight observation. I've had students that say this is one of the coolest love poems they've ever read. Take a look at it. The female speaker asks an interesting question. Was it that I went to sleep thinking of him, that he came in my dreams? In other words, was I really with him or was it just a dream? And then the ironic response, had I known it a dream, I should not have wakened. I wish that I could have just stayed with him in my dream and never have woken up. Notice that the interesting thing that the Redkey poem that we worked with a while ago, the notion of waking up, here notice the irony of the opposite of that. When you're in a dream that's a good dream with somebody you care about, you could just wish that you never wake up at all. What do you say for a message at this one at 2A? The power of love? The power of love to be able to suspend reality, and sometimes dreaming is better than reality if you're in the dream with the right person. At 2B again, of course, we're looking at Tanka here, and the power of just a single insight. At 3A, what is your classic text about love and about dreaming, about being with the person that you care about? Is there one text of all the songs on your playlist that if you are with the person you care most about, that's the song you want to listen to? And then jot down why. Why does that song so well speak to the person who you care most about? At 3B, of course, the question is, when was the last time you felt this? When was the last time that you were so infatuated or in love or into someone, you even dreamed about that someone? Whoa, what a powerful moment maybe for you to have already had that experience in your young life. Is that a good experience or is that a crummy experience and you wake up and you're like, oh no, it was a dream, I wish it was real? When was the last time that happened for you? That you dreamed something that you really thought it was happening and then you woke up? Of course, that one takes us to that little Zen cone that we play with in 303. I dreamed I was a butterfly, and then I woke up and wondered, am I a butterfly dreaming I'm a human? The insubstantiability of dreaming and the ways that dreaming makes it that way. When we get to our senior year in Hamlet, we'll learn some more about dreaming, and there's the rub. Well, I hope you've enjoyed these two Tanka again, and I hope you'll want to read more of them. There's a whole bunch of them available. Thank you.